All right, guys, welcome back. Bear down. And yes, I know we already did the breaking news. We did the live, but I just want to go over a couple of stats and a couple of quick things with Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen now as the play callers for the Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson being announced as the Bears head coach. Dennis Allen, highly speculated, and according to Grok, AI on Twitter, Grok has already said that Dennis Allen is the new Bears defensive coordinator. So here's your breaking news from earlier. You got Chicago finalizing deal for Ben Johnson. The details of that deal are not released yet. It is rumored that the Raiders offered him $90 million. Don't know how many years that was for. Sounds like about 6 or 7 years. So the Bears are probably reaching that same number, 6-7 years, probably $100 million, which it does not come out of the salary cap, so it does not matter. Grok down here, Dennis Allen has recently been appointed the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears under head coach Ben Johnson. Take that for what it is. But Adam Schefter did say Ben Johnson has been busy assembling a star-studded coaching staff, leading candidate becoming his head defensive coordinator in Chicago. Former Saints head coach Dennis Allen, per league source. So that's not officially released yet, but it is all but done according to every major news insider. So this is Ryan Poles here in the middle. This is one thing that's been pieced together. I don't remember who on Twitter did it, but I did see it on Twitter. And then I pulled them both up and looked. And yes, they were both graduate assistants for Boston College. We know that Ryan Poles went to Boston College and was a lineman there, undrafted in 2008, and then played for the Bears on their practice squad. But Boston College graduate assistant in 2008, and Ben Johnson was a graduate assistant in 2009 and 10. So there is a little connection there with their alma mater. They didn't both graduate from there, but they both were graduate assistants there. So that is interesting. Ben Johnson is highly touted as the best play caller available for this year, the top coach candidate. This was a no-brainer for the Bears. Absolutely went out and did what they should have done. Started with the Miami Dolphins after Boston College. Then he went on to the Detroit Lions as offensive quality control coach. Then he's been the defensive coordinator since 2002. And he's helped turn that team around. In fact, I'll show you in just a second. Let's go there now. Here at the top, Warren Sharp posted this. I also saw it on That's Good Sports from Brandon Perna on his video he did. Jared Goff has been in Detroit since 2021. That's when they made the trade for him. Ben Johnson took over as offensive coordinator 2022. What do you notice? You look here at 21. This is the Lions' offensive ranks 1 through 32. Now, I do need to point out, if you go look at the line changed in 2022, and that's when the big changes happened with their studs that they were drafting. They got this thing turned around in 2022 with both Ben Johnson and the line. So this is imperative that the Bears get the line fixed this year, and I think Ben Johnson has some good input and say on how to do that. But with Jared Goff, without Ben Johnson, they were 23rd in points scored, 23rd in EPA. EPA means expected points above what expected. So obviously higher the better, or lower score one is best, but a high EPA is better. More points above what is expected. Success rate 21. Anyways, you get into here 22, 23, and 24, and they're top 10 in the league in almost every single category. The only ones are ones that don't matter, like how often you run a play action or a motion. Those things aren't critical to success. These things are all the critical for success. The yards per play, touchdowns, EPA per play, points scored. Number 1 in 2024 for points scored for Lions offense. So that's huge. Kevin Fishbane said Lions ranks on offense the past 3 seasons under Ben Johnson, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bears ranked on offense the past 11 seasons under too many play callers to name. 32nd, 20th, 28th, 24th, 26th, 29th, 21st, 30th, 15th, 21st, 21st. We are changing things finally. We are finally going offensive-minded, and just like Caleb said on the St. Brown podcast, he said he wants someone he can grow with for the next 15 years or so. Caleb wants to stay in Chicago. All those rumors from before, not true. He wants to stay in Chicago and grow with this one guy. Now he got his guy. We all know about the prank that was played. We know how he fell into it. He was excited to talk to Ben. He wasn't fully committed that it was him, but he answered it anyways. Then he was pissed off at the kids. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Either way, they should recreate that now. They should be able. They should do that and do what it's like when they're first time they're actually calling each other. But now it's happened. His excitement for Ben Johnson is real. He gets his offensive-minded head coach. It is happening. All right, back to here. Then you've got Dennis Allen on the other side, who has been a head coach multiple times. So a player as well for the Bills in the secondary. He was a safety. He played cornerback and safety. He's been primarily came up in that area, but then he was the assistant defensive line coach for the Saints as well. And then the secondaries coach. Then the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. Then he got a shot as head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And it was honestly just a crap show with the Raiders. If I'm remembering right, they didn't have any draft picks because they had traded everything away. He ended up having to bench his starting quarterback. It went with Glendon, and it was just a crap show the whole time. So he lost his job there, got rehired by the Saints, a senior defensive analyst, and then the defensive coordinator for a long time, from 15 to 21. And everything about him has excelled as a defensive coordinator. Became the head coach again after Sean Payton retired and came back from retirement. But either way, became the head coach there, and then basically was the fall guy as everything was falling apart again. Salary cap. Down the drain. Did win a Super Bowl with the Saints back in the glory days back here. I think it was 2009. Don't fact check me on that, but I believe that's when the Saints won the Super Bowl. But head coach again from 22 to 24. Crap situation. Decent roster, but then injuries happen. And Derek Carr this last year. And then salary cap is way over the cap. But here's just a couple tidbits from Dennis Allen. So from 2018 to 2024, Dennis Allen's defense ranks 5th best in defensive EPA. So same thing in the other direction. Points added. You want negative for defense, and 5th overall between those years, negative 0.35%. So that's really good. Caleb Williams Fan Club posted this from last year. This is after week 18 of last year. So not this year, but last year. Dennis Allen was the highest rated play caller last year. But let's look at some things from this year's actual stats, because this was a down year for the Saints. You can see the Saints. Blitzing is a big thing we want in Chicago. The Saints did not blitz a ton this last year. Doesn't matter as long as you get the results over here. So here's EPA, expected EPA for your defense, points added per defense, points added. And you see here there's the turnovers created, touchdowns allowed, interceptions, and touchdowns allowed. So this is passing touchdowns. This is rushing touchdowns. You can see the Saints they got 29 turnovers, which is one of the highest in the league. 22 touchdowns allowed on passing, 10 touchdowns allowed on rushing. So 32 touchdowns to 29 turnovers taken. So that's good. It's a good rate when you have that many turnovers. So that's good. Not a lot of blitzing there for what you want to see, though. So I'm trying to rush through this. Sorry, guys, but we did do a video earlier. With Dennis Allen being a primary specialist with the secondary, but also doing some defensive line coaching, will be interesting to see what happens. But here's the Bears last year with our defense, and I've called for Terrell Smith to be the other starting defensive back for the Bears instead of Tyreek Stevenson. The one thing about Dennis Allen is that he runs a 4-3. He runs a 4-3, but he runs a lot more man than we have primarily ran in Chicago. So we run a lot of zone, Tampa 2 zone. He runs that as well, but he runs more of a hybrid. We're 4-2-5 and a lot more man coverage as well. And if that's the case, Terrell Smith will be very appetizing to him to start over Tyreek Stevenson. And with his experience as secondary with safeties and him playing safety, he could convert Tyreek Stevenson to that safety role like we've talked about. That'll be something interesting to monitor. So in the gold here is the ones that he just barely had. Here in the burnt orange is the Bears defensive backs, cornerbacks. And it'll be really interesting to see how they play these guys next year for the Bears, because I think this is kind of a no-brainer at this point, Jalen Johnson and Terrell Smith. And then just one more for Ben Johnson, because we showed this one before, but we ended up getting our guys. So this is play caller rating, effectiveness, overall score. So this side, right, is good. We want to be over on the right. And then easy button is just helping your young play caller come into the league. You can see how he helped Jared Goff. Jared Goff is not the most talented quarterback in the league. You see how I helped him with his easy play call. This is your run pass options, your play action, your screens, making things easy for the quarterback. As long as you're effective, that's good. If you're the Jets down here and you're not effective with it, it's not as good. You might need to shake things up. Or the Colts, you might need to shake things up a little bit. But if you're in this direction and you're making things easier for your quarterback, this is going to be nice for Caleb. All we care about is being on the right side. We want this to be over here on the right. Oh, other way. Other way. We want it to be effective. And right now, the Bears were the least effective overall score for play calling this last year. So it's a good thing for the Bears. But all right, I don't even need to ask you guys on this one if you're excited or what your thoughts are, because we know this is the most exciting news we've had in a long time. Less than an hour away from the national championship. Enjoy the game, and then we're going to get into all the fun stuff with the Senior Bowl, with the Shrine Bowl, with the Combine, with players that are possible to come to the Bears. It's going to be a lot of fun, but this is huge news for the Bears. I'm a huge fan of both of these. We'll see who the OC is. A lot of rumors that it's going to be Thomas Brown. He can get some experience underneath Ben Johnson, and that he can continue to grow. So we'll see what happens there. But huge news today. Thank you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button. Appreciate every one of you. Until next time, dabears and bear down.